Welcome to 100 Yards Football this morning. I'm your host, Vincent Turner. If you like the video today, please come in and share it. Today, I got a history video. It's in the NFL and it's concerning the Kansas City Chiefs, Super Bowl IV champions. So, if you like the video, please come in and share it. When you follow this great game, especially at the pro level, it's always special teams and special situations that make some in your life feel real special. And the Kansas City Chiefs, when they won Super Bowl IV, I felt very special in my heart. I was in the fourth grade. And it was something about that football team that was really, really to my heart. And I had a friend, one of my best friends who was in my classroom at that time. His name was Jerry Knowlton. And he went on, had a great high school career at Southside High School, the same high school I attended. Then he went to Memphis State and played 4 years. But us as two 9-year-olds, the Chiefs were our team. It was just something about the uniforms. The head coach, Hank Stram, had a lot of energy. Lenny Dawson was a 12-year vet, played quarterback at Purdue. But the thing that stuck out most of all, out of their 22 starters, they had 12 African Americans. In that year, in 1968, they made the playoffs as a wild card team. They had to go on the road to get to the Super Bowl. They went up to Broadway Joe Namath and the Jets, a team that had just came off winning Super Bowl III. The Jets were heavily favored in that game. And when you look at that Jets team, they were still stacked. Joe Namath, Verlin Briggs, Matt Snell, Emerson Boozer. And Kansas City went up there and won that football game 13-6. Then they went out to the West Coast. They had to play the best team in all of football that year, the Oakland Raiders, under Al Davis. And they had lost twice to the Raiders in the regular season, the Kansas City Chiefs, and they got blown out in one game. And you're talking about a Raiders team that had Fred Biletnikoff, Darryl LaMonica, Warren Wells, Hugh Dixon. But Kansas City went in there and shocked the world 17-7. And the thing about that AFC Championship game, the Raiders had already packed their bags to go to New Orleans. That's where Super Bowl IV was played at Tulane Stadium. And then the Chiefs won that game and went down to New Orleans and faced the mighty Minnesota Vikings, who at that time had a very talented team. Maybe one of the best defensive lines in the game, the Purple People Eaters, Jim Marshall, Carl Eller, Gary Lawson, Alan Page. They had a very athletic quarterback in Joe Kapp, California's finest. And the Chiefs came into that game as a 13-point underdog. And they dominated, winning the Super Bowl 23-7. But what stuck out in that game, there's nobody talking about Kansas City's defense. And they front four, Buck Buchanan, Jerry Mays, Aaron Brown, Curly Cup. And they held Minnesota to 69 yards rushing. And then on the offensive side, I mentioned Lenny Dawson. Mike Garrett had an excellent game, had a 5-yard touchdown run in the game out of USC. But the player of the game, as I sit here, and it's always going to stick in my mind at 61 years old, was that little out in a flat pass, the Otis Taylor. Him breaking that tackle and taking it 46 yards for a touchdown, high stepping down the sideline. And I know the Chiefs were going to win the Super Bowl. But when you look overall at the game, and I got to get my list, the thing that was so special about that team, and it was the underdog all the way through the playoffs, and this is what's going to set everything straight. When you look at all these great players that's played football in the National Football League over the years, Deion Sanders, Emmitt Smith, Ray Lewis, Patrick Mahomes, Terrell Owens, Randy Moss, Jerry Rice, Dwight Feeney, Claude Humphrey, Bruce Smith. It started right here in Super Bowl IV because you want to know why? The Chiefs set a standard for the African American playing in this league. And it started in Super Bowl IV because they had 14 players from the historical black colleges on their team. 14. Otis Taylor, Fairview University. The 936. Willie Lanier, Morgan State. The 410. Buck Buchanan, Grambling, 318. Goldie Sellers, Grambling, 318. Jimmy Marsalis, Tennessee State, 615. Willie Mitchell, Tennessee State, 615. Oh my God. Nolan Smith, Tennessee State, 615. Robert Holmes, Southern University, 225. Frank Pitts, Southern University, 225. Caesar Bessler, Arkansas Pine Bluff, 870. Jim Kearney, Fairview, 936. And Gloucester Richardson, Jackson State, 601. On that day, January the 2nd, 1969, the superstars were born in the National Football League. And that day, as a 9-year-old, I'm going to hold dear to my heart. Out of all the teams that's won the Super Bowls over the years, you can talk about Tom Brady 7. He's won with New England and Tampa Bay. You can talk about Jerry Rice, his rings. You can talk about Walter Payton with the 1985 Chicago Bears, him winning the ring. But this team here, the Kansas City Chiefs, Super Bowl IV is always going to hold a dear place in my heart. They were special. 14 players from the HBCU, 12 out of 22 starters, African Americans. That's why I watched this game, because of the history and what that meant to the African community throughout the United States, to the cities of Memphis, Tennessee, where I'm from, to the cities of New Orleans, Louisiana, to the cities of Chicago, Detroit, New York, Lufkin, Texas, Dallas. This team was special. And I think everyone knows what I'm talking about. My final words about the Super Bowl IV team, the Kansas City Chiefs. And before I move on to my final words, the one guy that put this together, and I'm going to give him kudos, is Mr. Lloyd Wales out of Houston, Texas, the first black pro scout in pro football. Started in the AFL, went over to the NFL, and he was the main reason this team was constructed, the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl IV. So to you, Mr. Wales, thank you for everything, because you set the tone and scouting our players at these schools and letting the world know that these guys can play on any level. Now to my final words about the Kansas City Chiefs Super Bowl IV champions. There's a song that's called Everyday People by my man, Mr. Sly and the Family Stone. The lyrics are, sometimes I'm right and I can be wrong. My own beliefs are in my song. The butcher, the barber, the drummer. And that makes no difference what group I'm in. The Kansas City Chiefs were in a different group when they won the Super Bowl on January the 2nd, 1970. If you like the video today, please comment and share it. I'm your host, Vincent Turner, and I want to say special thanks and much blessings to the guy that's producing my show today, Mr. Logan Landers, out of Douglasville, Georgia, by way, a graduate of West Georgia, very talented young man, and I'm very blessed to have him today to produce my show. Y'all be blessed. Thank you for watching Vincent Turner, myself, and 100 Yards of Football this morning.